always make fun of him having a big head. You know, we always say that, like, you have a big head. All of our jokes are always how he has a big head. Yeah, he's like, "Are you jealous of the size of my appendages?" You know, and he's like, "You know what they say about someone's head?" And it's like, first off, they don't say that.
Says that.
They don't say that. They say it about
Five-head
feet.
dick.
They say it about feet, not about head.
Massive cranium, massive balls.
I have all of these numbers now, and it's hard to, like, I just want to call them all the time, but I have to. I can't just be calling them constantly.
Yeah, no.
And also, but yeah, that's what I tweeted about how that it's really hard because somebody will post something like, "Look what Tim Pool said," and it's hard to not just fucking call him and be like, "Fuck you," you know?
Yeah, of course.
But I'm like,
course.
that doesn't do me any good.
But it's a million times better if you do get that one clip where everyone can then share it and be like, "Holy shit, Tim Pool just said the 14 words, but he didn't know they were Pokemon characters." Like that's wild, you know?
Exactly. It is. That's why I have to think about it in that way. But that's what I'm saying. It is genuinely, as people in the chat, I'm sure you guys know, like, you get angry. You're reading this stuff and you see these people who are being so willfully ignorant. They're misleading people purposely, you know, in order to, like, stoke all this fear and division between people. And you know that they're just doing it to make money for themselves. And if you care, and I'm sure if you're a fan of this channel and stuff, then you do, and you have empathy and you care about other people who aren't your friends or family, then it sickens you to see these fucking people. It enrages you. So yeah, it genuinely is hard sometimes to not just pick up the phone. Like, I do it sometimes to Jeremy Boring, who's Ben Shapiro's business partner at the Daily Wire. I can't use his phone calls because of
his voice for anything.
Well, I can't use his phone number, his calls, because of where he is and the consent laws for recording. So there's only some states where I can use it. So I know I can't use it. So I got his number myself. He posted it by mistake sometime in like he posted something to do with the Daily Wire when he was registering something. But I'll just call him when Ben Shapiro does something really bad. Like, when he does something really bad, I'll call him, and he knows me now. Like, we have the conversations where we have like debates. We sit there and talk for like 10 or 15 minutes.
What?
And I just
this is not where I thought the story was going to go.
They're not good conversations, but he does talk to me. And he'll sit there and try to justify some of the stuff, and I'll try to, like, hold his feet to the fire about, like, "Hey, I just found out that the Daily Wire is owned by fossil fuel billionaires, and I noticed Ben Shapiro is out here posting anti-climate change stuff. Does it feel at all like maybe you are, doing the bidding of a bunch of fossil fuel billionaires? And does that feel disgusting? And do you care at all about any?" And he will, he'll have a conversation with me about it, at least.
But does he even acknowledge that much? Do you even get a so you are directly contributing to the downfall of civilization?
So that you want to hear the justification so I said, do you think that Ben Shapiro is posting that stuff? Are you guys posting this stuff because you are beholden to this corporation? They are the ones who sign your checks, and is that the reason that you are? And the thing that he said to me was, no, the reason they backed us in the first place is because we had these views to begin with, and they coincided with the views of these, billionaire fossil fuel people. So
but how far do they take it? Is it outright denial, or is it that, like, there's nothing we can do, or is it that I'm just going to get mine?
It's outright denial. Okay. It is the classic. The climate is always changing. The climate will always continue to change. And that was exactly what he said to me. The climate is always changing. The climate is always changing. Yeah, no, it's all bad. The endless feed. Trust me. It's all bad. It's all terrible. I wouldn't suggest it. It's not a good. It is like something I should not be doing. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to change Jeremy Boring's mind. I am not going to convince him.
But I would love that power. Are you kidding me? Like, if nothing else, it's got to be a little bit cathartic to just be able to be like, fuck you. Yeah. Like, you are killing us. And you're making a mint while you're doing it.
Yes, that it is cathartic, but it's really just for me. It's only just selfish and for me. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
it doesn't actually
Change
get me
anything. No, of course.
anywhere or
What?
change
But neither
anything.
does using Twitter ever. But I still do it, right? Like
True, I guess.
I do like that I can put people on blast, and I can get like a couple thousand retweets of me saying that Tim Pool is like a smelly beanie, and then all of a sudden it's like boom, like hopefully he sees that, but it
And
doesn't
I
change
do.
anything.
Yeah, I like Twitter for like forming of community. That's what I think that it's like really positive for, like a lot of online stuff. That's the real sort of positive thing I see in it, is that you can, like you said, you tweet that out. You tweet out, "Hey, Tim Pool, but it's a condom instead of a beanie or whatever." And you
Yeah.
like you tweet that photo, everybody gets a good laugh, they share it. And then anybody else who thinks that's funny and maybe feels that same way about Tim Pool, they slowly but surely start moving into your circle and your community, and it gets like-minded people together. And I mean, obviously, like for organizing and stuff, it's fantastic, and I think it could be used a lot better for stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I like to dunk on people too. I've definitely like
Well, you
I've
get to do
told.
it in person. That's what I love about your show, right? Okay, so
Yeah,
hold on. Let me
sure.
steer this in one direction. I want to ask what got you into this? Like, are you just someone who grew up listening to prank calls, and you're like, one day that's going to be me, or did you just kind of fall into this by accident?
I don't. I mean, I did grow up listening to prank calls, so I was like, I grew up in the era of the Jerky Boys, and
Hmm.
like, I grew up in the time when like the Jerky Boys had the #1 album in North America, which
Really?
is crazy to think. They
That's
were.
wild.
It was the big. Everybody had it.
Hmm.
But yeah, and then Howard Stern as well. Sal and Richard on Howard Stern. The
Hmm.
Tradio calls. If people are probably familiar, some people in the chat, a little bit more mean spirited because they were sort of messing with people who didn't necessarily deserve it. So that was the part that I didn't love. So I tried to say, hey, how can I do this, but make sure that I'm, only doing it to people who, who deserve it. But really, I'm a stand-up comedian. So like that's what my
Ah, okay.
yeah. So my
And so you
job.
probably have some background in improv and stuff. That's how you.
Yeah, I mean, doing improv and doing stuff with, but was a stand like that. That was my job before I ever started this channel. Like I was, I'm a professional comedian here in Canada. So I have like 2 albums and I would tour around and do the festivals and stuff out here in Canada. And then really I started, oh, that's good. Django Fat. Hey there, Fruity ass. This is Frank. You want to hear something? Can I just say quickly? I was
Yeah.
doing Shocktober last night
Hmm.
with Murder Brian from Street Fight Radio. They do a
Yeah.
thing called Shocktober where
Yeah,
we
yeah,
go
that's
through all
dope.
these shock
I
ones.
love Street Fight Radio.
I'm co-hosting it this year with Brian, and we were in the wrap-up show last night. They were playing a clip of Love Line with Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew,
Hmm.
and the Jerky Boys were the guests.
Whoa, no way.
So, but can you imagine you're like some teenager and you call up and you're like, hey, I got this issue. My girlfriend's like my intimacy with my girlfriend, and the Jerky Boys were there doing like characters like, hey, Jerky. Like it was fucking,
Were they
it was,
doing all the racist ones too?
I don't know. We didn't hear any clips with the raisins, but I just could
That
not
sounds
believe
so
it.
Adam Carolla. Holy
It was
shit.
just absolutely brutal. But yeah, so I did stand up, and then I started hating doing stand up. Anyone who does stand up knows that it's like, especially in Canada, the ceiling's so low. Like I did the festivals that I could do or whatever, I did those things, and then it's like there's not so much you can do, and you're just kind of, it's like, hey, just for laughs. Did I get just for laughs this year? No, I didn't. Okay, I had a bad year.
Mm.
And I started thinking like this is kind of a bad way to live, where I'm putting all of my happiness or whatever in in somebody else's hands. Just one person who just picks who gets a festival. And I just, yeah, I didn't love it. So I started thinking, what can I do? And I just said, I'm going to make a channel every week where I just put out content. I had no concept of what it would be. But at that same time, I just also noticed that Kurt Schilling was doing a Breitbart show, a radio show, a call-in show. And so I just started calling Kurt Schilling. I didn't know of all these, radio shows and everything. I just started calling Kurt Schilling and bothering him. And so the first episodes are just me bothering Kurt Schilling. And then I literally, the way I found other shows was I called other shows and said, do you like Kurt Schilling? And then someone's like, no, I don't. And then I was like, okay, then I'm not going to prank you. And then the next show was like, I do like Kurt Schilling. And then I just slowly, I found this place, Red State Talk Radio. And then I just slowly started finding, I found this guy JJ McCartney, who's the JJ Supercuts, like we've been calling him for years, about his shirt, and it's I can't even explain it. There's literally 9 or 10 hours of us freaking calling this guy about his shirt. But yeah, and then it just started, I mean, very, very slowly growing. And when I say
And
slowly, I mean very slowly.
like over years and years, like
Yeah.
a
3 years. So I've been doing it for 3 years. So the first year and a half or so, it was like I would just get 100 and something people would be watching every
and
week.
with just like a side hobby kind of thing.
I mean, I guess, yeah, but I didn't want it to be a side hobby.
No,
I was like,
of course,
no, but
yeah.
I mean, like, I didn't have a job. I didn't have a
Oh,
job.
okay.
So I was like, I was sick. I was living off of my royalties from my comedy albums and doing some stand up still. So I guess
Mhm.
stand up still was my job, kind of. But I was, yeah, it was super fucking hard. And it was a true lesson in, like, it was the only time in my life where I sort of understood the whole, like, hey, if you believe in something, you got to keep at it, and then you got to trust that it will work out. I don't think that's always the case, but in this case, I, even though very few people were watching, I thought it was good. I was like, this is good and it has value, so I'm going to keep doing it. And eventually people, you know, came on, and I mean, I still get reminded all the time that I don't have that many, but people will say, I don't know if this ever happens to you, but they're like, man, how do you not have way more subs, you know? And they're being nice. They're being nice. I'm just like, I'm sitting there like, oh man, I'm really happy with the amount that I have right now.
It's a compliment insult or whatever.
It is a compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm happy with it. I've always said to my goal and my model that I use is I don't want my channel to get really big. And some people say that, but I genuinely don't. For what I'm doing, it is not good for my channel to blow up. It will only make things more difficult for me legally and otherwise. It will only make things more difficult, and it will make things more stressful for me. So my whole thing is I want to build a very good community, a small, so all I want is 1,000 patrons, Patreon subs. Once I get to 1,000 and I have that amount coming in per month, then we decide as the community where the rest of the money goes if I make more. But I'm not looking to get rich off of it or
Wait. Sorry. What do you mean by that? Where the rest of it goes? Can they be like, I want you to buy clown shoes, and you have to do it?
charity. No,
Oh,
charitable.
okay. Oh,
Charitable.
so you're someone who wants to live to whatever level of comfort, and then you give all the rest of it away?
Yes, that is the way that that's, and I don't think other people should, but that is for me personally what makes me the happiest is I don't want to have a lot, and I do not need a lot. I need enough to get by on. I know what that amount is. I know what I can survive off of with putting stuff away and having that. It allows things to be way, way, way less stressful. So yeah, and also,
That is
I mean,
really based. What? Sorry, can I ask what your political affiliation is? Like how
I'm a
this?
socialist. So, it's
Ah, there you
The
have it.
NDP is my, so like I am a card carrying member of the NDP here in British Columbia, BC NDP, big election.
Hmm.
And I have family members who work very closely with it as well. So I mean, hey, and I will say this. I will say this. I know the NDP is not perfect. I don't think they are, but
Yeah, they're sock dems, but they're a lot better. They're a lot better than the
a lot
liberals.
better than any of the options on the, you know, national scale in America, of course, you know, but yes, I believe, I'm not somebody who's like, hey, the NDP, we got them in power, everything's great, no need to, like, hey,
Oh,
there's
yeah, I
issues.
know.
Big
It's over
environmental
now.
stuff.
We
Yeah,
did it.
big environmental issues. I live in Vancouver, as the last guest would say. We have a huge issue with homelessness, and there's big groups of people that are constantly railing against the homeless and drug addicted people here. And I don't believe
More
that
people die from overdoses than they do from COVID in
yeah.
BC. Like
Oh,
we have a monstrous overdose problem.
monstrous, huge problem, and I don't think that the NDP does enough to address that, and mental health issues as well. You know, and you can see that, you just walk around the streets of Vancouver. I live in East Vancouver, so I live in, you know, the area where you see the issues more, you know, in your face. And I think that more needs to be done, and that's a lot of the stuff that and I think you know, preach this a lot too, but like, that's my big focus nowadays, is on local stuff like that, and trying to get more involved with things. And I think a lot of the times you get up, it doesn't mean you can't be focusing on larger things, but it's very frustrating trying to affect any change. And I think it can be really, really effective to build from the bottom up. So look local,
Absolutely.
what you
Well,
can
you're
do
speaking my
locally.
language. Hey, let's talk offline about this shit because I'm working with a lot of organizations here. I just reached out to the Vancouver IWW and
Oh,
we were
that's
talking about that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I'm big on restorative justice. So there's a First Nations restorative justice. There's a particular organization for it, but I'm a huge proponent of restorative justice. Which is a huge tenet of First Nations communities and what they use for. But I think it could do a lot of good for helping people who are marginalized.
Oh,
In their
I
communities
completely
for
agree.
sure.
Yeah, like my mother's Métis, so like
Oh, really?
I'm yeah. So
Cool.
I'm part of the BC Métis Federation. I'm a card carrying Indigenous member of Canada.
That's
But I
awesome.
will say this: the organization absolutely sucks.
It does.
Oh well,
Really?
because they're big on like oil, take the oil money, whatever we can. You know, they're pro pipeline kind of stuff. Like it's shitty. I'm pretty disillusioned with them. But anyway, sorry. This isn't about me. This is about you,
That's
sir.
okay.
My next question then is now that I have a little bit of the arc with how you fell into this, how did how did things grow from becoming this guy who's like you say you're not that well known, maybe not in like subs, right, for your YouTube channel or whatever, but like you're infamous. I hope you know that, and like no, but in a really good way. And like I run with a lot of like bread tube circles, so like I know like I talk to Three Arrows, I talk to all these people all the time, and like your videos are shared around a lot, like even clips. It's
Yeah.
like that Chris James, that not even a show stuff. Like, oh, did you see what just happened? Like, I was gonna ask you at some point about the Jesse Lee Peterson thing because that video is making the rounds because someone finally called him out on the whole like closet homosexual stuff,
Yeah.
all this kind of thing. Like, did you have you fell into that? Have you felt that growth on that end? Do you know that
Yeah.
this
It's
happens
it.
behind the scenes?
I mean, it's like it's all the people on Twitter and stuff and all my friends. So I do know that like, I have my friends are on like the Go Off Kings, which is another Twitch stream. So like Jesse Farrar and Mike Hale and Stefan Rob Wisman. So through those guys, like Stefan is the original one that I met. I did his podcast. He lives in Vancouver as well, Stefan. So I met him and then I met all of these sort of online people. And I think through them just sharing it and stuff, I've been really lucky that they've been wonderful in sharing my stuff because then, yeah, then the people like, Jordan and Ken and, media people started following my account and then they started sharing it. And then, yeah, I get that feeling like it gets shared around. I mean, and sometimes it goes on the news and stuff. And then I definitely like there was one in the UK that is like hands down our you played Brian Kilmeade, the clip where I said I got kicked in the head by a horse.
Oh yeah.
So and somebody in the chat actually said a different prankster used that for Brexit for Nigel Farage. That was us. That was me. So that was our actual prank, and that was the biggest one, hands down. It was somebody else did it, like my prank, but it was on all the news things, and it was like on Good Morning Britain, where Pierce Morgan was like making fun of Nigel Farage.
I remember that. I
So,
remember that.
like
That
that
shit
one
was
was
fucking
wild.
hilarious.
Like, yeah, that one was crazy because it was like, then I was getting so much, and then I was getting, and it was like it gets a little annoying. People don't really credit you either. Like people think that like, and fair enough, to be honest, because it's like it's a prank phone call. So your
Mhm.
intuition isn't to like, let's friggin' give credit. You just think this is some fucking idiot sitting in his fucking house, getting all high, which isn't totally wrong. Um, but yeah, so your intuition is not to give credit. So I do get an issue with that where people will share it and get a lot of clout off of them. Like they'll get huge, like that Nigel one. It went like 100,000 like people got like hundreds of thousands of retweets off of it
Mhm.
without ever, But as I said before, nowadays it doesn't bother me at all. Certain things I like to get a little bit of credit for if I know that it's small enough, but like Like Jimmy Kimmel played one of our pranks on Jimmy Kimmel show one time.
No way.
And Howard Stern did too. Howard Stern played like the Roger Stone prank call where I said I was jacking off to Roger Stone on like Infowars. But
How did that not blow you out of the stratosphere?
because they didn't mention my channel.
Oh, poor
And
form.
at the time I thought, but now as I've said, I'm glad because I wouldn't still be doing it. I really truly wouldn't. If Jimmy Kimmel or Howard Stern had have said what my channel was, it would have blown it up way too big. I have extreme anxiety surrounding stuff like that. Even now as it is, I put my episodes up and I get super anxious. I get super anxious, like, what are people saying? What are people doing? You know, and so the idea of it getting to any level that's like, if it gets too big, I'll stop doing it. And that's the truth. Like, you know,
Yeah,
if it
fair
went to
enough.
like, you know, over 100,000 subs on YouTube or something, I would take it elsewhere. I would only do Patreon, and I would keep, you know, I would make sure to shrink it back down because I wouldn't want it. So yeah, in hindsight, I'm glad. And it just got to, it was just the Howard Stern thing was just the coolest thing ever. For like,
Yeah, that's wild.
I love Howard Stern, and as I mentioned, that's how I started pranking basically. So to hear him and fucking Robin like saying, "Oh, this is hilarious. This guy's a great prankster," was like, it genuinely made me cry. It like made me actually
Oh,
like
that's
tear
really
up
cute.
when it happened.
That's really cute.
So yeah, that was way better than blowing up the channel. That moment that I got to have, like, I fucking have it forever now. You know.
Oh, that's really cool, man.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask though, like, do you feel sometimes that this shit is ever gonna get you in actual legitimate trouble? Like, do you, especially some of the bigger ones, like the Roger Stone? I don't know if he's is maybe someone who's gonna actively like target you, but one of the bigger ones, like. I don't know. You did someone recently with one of the members, not the trumpet? Well, Roger Stone's pretty closely tied.
I mean, I just did Matt Schlapp, and I just did Laura Loomer, and I just did like.
Well, Laura Loomer doesn't really have any real power, though. I mean,
yeah, that's true. I mean, am I?
Is she gonna handcuff herself to the doors of your house or something?
Yeah, exactly. Boyd Harpy says, "Isn't Howard Stern a transphobe?" I'm not sure if he is. I would be disappointed. I don't listen to Howard anymore. There's something that I listened to early on. I know that he certainly said things I disagreed with at the time when I listened to him. I know that he has evolved his views a lot, but I would be disappointed to hear if he was espousing transphobic views.
He's got a handful of really shitty beliefs, but to me it's just cute because it's like it's something you grew up with as a kid and it was your hero, right? Like, for example, like I used to love Tom Green when I was a kid, right? And like he's also a huge piece of shit, but like I was obsessed with him as a teenager. So if I found out today that like Tom Green had like played a clip of mine today and like liked it, I'd be like, oh, that's really cool. That is kind of like my childhood coming full circle, you know?
Yeah, I think that, and sorry, I got distracted by that transfer. What were we discussing before that?
Oh, I was asking if you've ever become in, or you've ever gotten in real trouble, because like I'll tell you this, I just did a thing for Corey Lewandowski where I paid a cameo.
Number, by the way, sorry.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. I called him. I actually called him and talked to him. He didn't bite though, and so he's like, I don't know who you are. I'm out of here. See it. Like, but I have sorry, but yeah, I just talked to him 2 days ago.
Well, I was just gonna say it ended up making international news because I got him to say the slogan on the gates of Auschwitz, which is "Work sets you free," and then I pretended that it was for this Facebook group called the Alpha Freedom Friends, and then Newsweek picked it up, and then it became right before the election. It was this big story where it was like Trump's senior campaign advisor says the slogan on the gates of Auschwitz. Is he a secret Nazi? All this kind of stuff, and I genuinely was terrified. Like I disconnected from all of it. I was like, holy shit. Like I stopped talking about it. I like stopped tweeting about
Canada, right? You live in Canada.
I live in Vancouver, just like you.
So then we don't need to worry too much. I think that's what makes me not worry as much is because I live in Canada. So I just think to myself, like, I did say to my girlfriend yesterday, I said, you know, I'm probably might get sued soon. Like, so I definitely have thought about it. Like, I'm not breaking any laws, but yeah, like I'm calling their cell phone and then I'm putting the, recordings up online, and I've had somebody.
You're monetizing it too. You're profiting off it.
Well, I'm profiting off it through Patreon, but not through YouTube. So it is a bit of that's a specific thing I do on purpose, that I'm monetizing it not through YouTube because of that exact reason.
Gotcha. Smart.
But so I've had my YouTube channel taken down it actually got removed like a year and a half in. One of the hosts who I call, his name's Pete Santilli, and anybody who's a real, if you remember the Bundy Ranch standoff, that was a huge story. He was actually involved and went to jail and has like, been to federal prison and stuff. And he's like a crazy conspiracy theorist. Yeah, Emma knows. That's my girlfriend Emma Town in the chat.
Oh, cute. Hey, Emma, how's it going?
Yeah, Pete Vape is what we call him because he was always vaping on his stream. But he
Oh, Emma plays video games on your channel sometimes, right?
Yeah, we're at right after this. Actually, in 30 minutes, we're gonna be going. We play Sims. We have like a thing called Emma Town, which is we basically build people from our chat and we make people like from my channel, and like so we have like a whole world where like Jesse and Stefan and Sebastian Gorka and Jay, all the people, they all live there.
What is it? Twitch.tv/
No Prank Radio. No Prank Radio.
Everyone, twitch.tv/ no prank radio. It'll be easy to find though. I'm gonna raid right after this. So
cool. And then I do a call-in show on there as well. It's mostly a call-in show. So I do 3 days a week. I do a call-in show where you can call me and I have topics and I watch old clips and stuff like that. But yeah, Pete Santilli actually got my channel removed. He had copyright strikes against me for using his content, without and then he got my channel removed. And the way YouTube works, as you probably know, is it doesn't matter if you're right. Like I'm fair use covers me. Mm-hmm. Fair use covers me in this, but it doesn't matter.
I don't know if you can see it in my screen or if you're looking at it, but or you got to catch up 30 seconds. But in the corner of my thing, I've got a framed picture of the apology YouTube had to issue when they took my channel down. And then everyone brought it back to life, and they never issue apologies. But this is a Twitter awesome. Apologies. Yeah,
I love that.
Framed. Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I could not get a response from YouTube. So it sounds like you know exactly what I was dealing with. It didn't matter. Like I was, they just took it down, and it was then on me to prove that. But I was getting nowhere. It was like, I know Alex Goldman, if you know him from Reply All, he's like was helping me out with it and tried to like. But even they wouldn't even respond to him on it. And the only way I got my channel back was because I went online and found Pete Santilli's cell phone number, the actual host who had my channel taken down. And I called him and I had a conversation with him and I explained to him that I'm not part of some government thing. I'm not I'm just a comedian in Vancouver. And I would appreciate it if you would rescind the copyright strikes. And he did. And that's the only way. Had he not been so stupid as to put his own cell phone number when he was registering his website, I would have never got my channel back.
Wow.
So yeah, that's
scary and huge.
But then crazy enough, it never happened again. Never happened again. And
Wild.
I mean, knock on wood or whatever. But yeah, I've been lucky. And you know what? I think there's a few of the hosts who really, truly hate it. They truly hate it, but I think like
do they know after the fact? Because like I noticed Dennis Prager shuts you down like this, or whoever is working the soundboard, like as soon as you were like diaper, it's like click.
Yeah,
so
Dennis
like
Prager knows my voice, so I can't call Dennis Prager anymore because as soon as he hears my voice, he knows to hang up. But some of them know the channel, some of them don't. Like Sebastian Gorka knows the channel super well. A famous clip from my channel.
Oh, when they called in.
When Sebastian Gorka's call screener and producer called my call-in show.
Funny. That was so. I love how you lost your shit.
I could not believe it. I was laughing so hard. He called Twitch twitchy as well. Like he was like he was such an old man. He's like he just kept embarrassing himself so much. He kept asking like he's like, how do you make money off of stand-up comedy? And I was like, oh, it's on Sirius satellite radio, so they play my clips because like, and then there's a thing called Sound Exchange that distributes royalties. And he's like, oh, you're on Sirius? When are you on? And I was like, well, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
They don't tell me the time when they play my tracks. And then he tried to say to me like, he said like, oh, you're a regular Howard Stern. And then I was like, no, but I was on Howard Stern. He's like, what day? And I was like, it was a year and a half ago. I don't remember. He's like, yeah, right. You don't remember. Like it was the absolute worst. Yeah. He embarrassed himself so much, but yeah.
Oh, it was so good. I love how you recognized him right away. You were like, oh my God, everyone, this is the guy right now. This is him. He works for the show. know.
Yeah, it was because he said something that we had said to each other on like he referenced something I had said to him on a call earlier in the day, so that was how I knew it was him right away.
It was
But
like
yeah.
so petty, so petty. You work for this fucking media empire, right? Like you're just like, how is this happening?
I mean, Sebastian Gorka is so petty. Sebastian Gorka is the most fucking petty person in the whole world. He sent me all of these threatening DMs as well. Like sent me like threatening DM after threatening DM, just like I will crush you. I want to see you cry live on the air. Like he'll take my calls in the break. Like he'll take my call now. He won't take me on the air, but he'll wait for a break and then he'll take my call and he'll say like, "Hey,
No one's
I
decorators.
got a huge
I'm
penis."
gonna
Like, he
say
tells me
hey
he
to
has
you.
a huge penis. He tells me that. We make fun of him having a big head. You know, we always say that, like, you have a big head. All of our jokes are always how he has a big head.
Doug,
And so he's like, "Are you jealous of the size of my appendages?" You know, and he's like, "You know what they say about someone's head?" And it's like, first off, they don't. They don't say that.
says that.
They don't say that. They say it about
Five-head
feet.
dick.
They say it about feet, not about head.
Massive cranium, massive balls.
Yeah,
You
big head, huge, you know, and
holy shit.
But yeah, he really is like so insecure, so insecure.
That's so funny. That's
Rudy
absolutely
Giuliani.
hilarious.
Yeah, Rudy Giuliani is probably like he's like the worst radio host, so he's like really easy to get riled up because he's so overwhelmed as it is when he's doing his show. We got him so good this week. The Rudy Giuliani, we got him 3 times this week on one show, and every call we make is always about him. I don't know if everyone knows this, but he married and had sex with it. He married his cousin.
It was a second cousin or a third cousin, right? Second cousin. Yeah.
But yeah, Rudy Giuliani. He had sex with his cousin a bunch of times, and the thing about it is like if you're that bad of a guy,
Yeah.
and you're in the public eye and you're doing a radio show every day, you can't just you married your cousin, man. You can't just skate by every day. Like we're calling you every fucking day about that. And so it's just like we probably called them like 30 times. And the big angle we're going for now is like we'll call him with a couple of calls, like, you know, Mr. X, where it's like, hey, just you know, Joe Biden, you might want to vote for Joe Biden actually, because I heard this new policy he has where he's going to make it legal to marry your cousin or whatever, whatever the prank is. And then somebody will call in and say like, hey, why are they saying you married your cousin, man? Why are those jerks trying to say you married your cousin? That can't be true, you know? Like, so I want him to say on the air, well, it is true. I did marry my second cousin. That's my goal.
He's not going to. No way. No way. That would be amazing though. Oh man. Isn't that like the Shelbyville meme? Like, and marry our cousins, you know?
Yeah. It's incredible. But he's like, yeah, he's so bad at radio. I don't know why he does it. I'm not sure why he does it.
Not so much Rudy. Even Rudy, I find, is a little bit tolerable on radio because he can become very emphatic, right? All of a sudden, he can just, if he goes on a rant, he's okay. Dennis Prager belongs nowhere. It is so like when I watch your clips of him, I was like, oh well, maybe I can harvest some Dennis Prager clips for me when I watch Ghouls or whatever, different segments on my show. It is painful to sit through. He is so boring. Like he seems like he's half asleep the whole time.
Somebody asked in the one prank you called that you couldn't exactly hear what the first caller said. I voted for you to stop pausing for 20 seconds during your live radio show. That is like, I've never heard him and Jesse Lee Peterson. They're on a live radio show, and it's like most people aren't watching the live stream. Most people are listening to it on radio, on terrestrial radio, and they pause for genuinely 20 to 25 seconds of dead air.
Wow.
Just sitting there, just like, how can you do that? Like, what? Just do a shorter show. Just do a shorter show. Just do 2 hours or whatever. Don't have to do 3 hours every day. You're right. I mean, Dennis, honestly, to be honest with you, like the fact that Dennis Prager is the face of like PragerU is actually very, very good for the left in a serious, genuine way, because he's just so unappealing to young people. He's so look at him. Like, look at his, like, get his jowls, his huge jowls. He's just like the way he talks, the way how
and rapey. Like, like I'm not even saying that's like to be like hyperbolic or anything. The man has multiple like blog posts and articles like writing about like when she's not in the mood, etc. How to like convince your wife. On top of which, have you seen his fireside chat where he's like, the only thing stopping men from committing random acts and abducting women and raping them is the Bible, is the rule of law. I was like, well, also just I don't have a desire to rape people. There's that one. Like, like, what the hell are you talking about? Dennis Prager.
And like, fucking Adam Carolla is like, that's what if I prank Adam Carolla, it's always like making fun of the fact that he's friends with Dennis Prager.
He's so deeply unfunny, though. It makes sense to me. Like, I mean, like,
I don't know. To me, it doesn't, because like Adam Carolla sucks. Like, he sucks. But Dennis Prager, like, look at Dennis Prager. Adam Carolla thinks of himself as a cool guy. He's like a car guy. He's like,
that's true.
Like, he's like,
that's true.
Kind of comes from this. Look at fucking Dennis Prager. Imagine, oh, there's my friend Dennis. Oh, the guy who's sort of nodding off there. You know,
it's nice to be here.
Yeah, hi, Adam.
Is your wife in the mood, Adam?
Adam, thanks for having me. Yeah, I really do. I think that it's actually a god. Like, I think it's a good thing, because he's only getting worse. He's only getting less interesting. He doesn't, like, the people you got to concern yourself with, or, you know, that are like Ben Shapiro, even though you think that he's so annoying in the way that, you know, it's horrible to listen to, like, it's not the same way. Like, he has some appeal to, like, younger people, and like even like Dave Rubin and stuff like that. But like,
some of their clips can be shared, whereas I totally agree with you with Dennis Prager. I mean, the thing is, like, with him and a lot of these other people that you prank or you talk to, I often sit there wondering, like, who does this appeal to outside of this bit? Like, who unironically watches this and shares it with someone else and is like, yo, have you seen this takedown? Have you seen the latest, like, PragerU video that completely exposes socialism for what it truly is?
Yeah. I mean, I went and hung out with a friend of my family, my best friend's brother, he was one of I grew up with him. I spent so much time with him. You know, wonderful guy. We you know, and he experienced tragedy in his life, and their father took his own life when he was at a formidable age, and it affected him in a very, very serious way. And he had sort of a breakdown of sorts where he disconnected and pushed away from society and people like that. And I just went to hang out with him for the first time in like 8 years or something like that. And we went out camping together, and he was into Ben Shapiro and that type of stuff, you know? And it was really like, it was the first moment where I sort of said, like, because he's a normal guy, this guy who I'm talking, a smart guy who grew up in the same place as me and had all of this stuff happen. What it is for him, it's absolute desperation and an absolute feeling of being so overwhelmed with the world and feeling so disconnected to it and trying to find something. And people like Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro, they give people like that a foothold and something to believe in, and something to hold on to. And it's a problem that needs to be looked at and addressed, because it's not just stupid people that are falling for it. I think
it's not. And a lot of that's, of course, and a lot of that stuff has broad appeal. The idea of, like, pick yourself up from your bootstraps, clean up your room. Like, clean up your room isn't bad advice. Like, it'll make you feel better. You'll have a cleaner room. It'll smell better, right? Like, you know, that's. But it's very surface level shit that some people need at a given time, and there's not really an alternative on the left. You know, there's because a lot of people probably are just gonna be like, well, that's just kind of like, it's silly, man. Like, you obviously clean up your room, but like, there's more to it than that. You know,
Purple Minx. I know it's not even a suburban, but I'm just curious when they're saying who are you saying is weak? Oh, those people are weak. You're saying, and unable to.
Thanks, attachable, detached. Very nice to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it's like, I don't know. I guess you're right. It is there's some level of weakness to it, but I don't know. It was hard because it was my friend, right? And it was like, I saw him in there still, if that makes sense. That like I had conversations with him and we were talking for 15 minutes and it was like, ah, that's the guy. Oh, messaging from the left. Yes, that is too weak. And I was like, that's the guy. That's
Mhm.
the guy. He's there still. And I was like,
Yeah.
how did that guy fall into this? And I tried to like unpeel it. And but you're right, that whole just clean up your room. You know, his girlfriend broke up with him. You know, he's lost his dad. He's dealing with these issues in his head that he can't wrap his head around. And somebody's just saying, hey, you know what'll make you feel better? Clean up your own room, worry about yourself. And that message resonated with him and it
Mhm.
resonated super strongly with him. And you were absolutely right. There was not a message from the left that resonated with somebody in that situation. Now, you can have the debate. Do we want to have a message that resonates with these people? Do we want to accept them? Whatever that. It's not something I want to say, but I've noticed, and
Oh, my answer is yes, absolutely. Someone,
I think,
come on, it doesn't have to be from you or me. We're silly comedians. I'm a dumpster fire, right? Like my joy in life is making people smile because it's something I've always loved the feeling of, right? That's just like
yeah,
I like making people feel cozy and warm. That being said, I also think there's multiple facets on the left. There's room for other people to do other things, and if you are going to help people out in their lives, because like yeah, to the people in chat saying we all go through tough shit, it's true, but there's people on the other end of the spectrum ready to give answers, and like, and it's not just, by the way, for your buddies who's going through that hard time stuff, the other people who are like experiencing alienation or experiencing poverty or experiencing all this other shit, and you've got Tucker Carlson who's telling you, by the way, it's the globalists, it's the Jews, it's this, right? That also is suddenly pulling a lot of people in, like, oh, he's got an answer. They're like, I agree that it feels like there's all these rich people who have everything and all these poor people who have nothing, like me. Who's to blame? Well,
yeah.
it's the globalists, it's
Yeah,
the
it gives you
bankers, the
an answer.
Jews,
And I think
yeah.
there is one thing that like I will say this that when I was younger, before I grew up into a human being, before I grew up into somebody who understood, who had a full grasp of the fact that I am living on this earth with other human beings who are also trying to experience happiness in the same way I am. And it might sound stupid, and maybe you, but I really went through much of my teenage life and even early 20s not even having an understanding of that.
Oh, of
And so
course.
at that point, I think like a lot of people, even who are progressive, I said things that I would never say now that I thought were funny.
Of course.
You know, and I think one of the things that when you are at a crossroads and if you are a young person, and sometimes if you're looking and you're like, okay, I'm going to split off here. Where am I going here? I'm at a crossroads. What am I going to do? And there's one side that is the terrible right wing side that is saying it's actually okay that you said those things.
Hmm.
And we're going to accept you regardless of the fact that you said those things. And then there's another side that's saying you are actually the devil for saying those things.
Hmm.
And we don't care if you have evolved and gotten better.
Yep.
I think that that will steer a lot of people in that direction. And again, I don't know what the answer is, but I just know from my own personal experience that like that is sort of a feeling is if you are part of a group that does not allow for people who have evolved and who have come and who have grown, then I think that you are going to risk pushing those people in the wrong direction. That's what I think.
Absolutely. Like I'll tell people, just it's there's a big difference between telling someone, hey, in this area, right, that what you're saying right now is transphobic, for example, versus you said shitty stuff in the past, and like, oh, you can never be forgiven for that, like
Yeah.
as if that isn't every fucking human being. Like, come on,
Yes.
are you going to alienate everyone who isn't like the Pope? Because
Yes.
even the Pope runs the largest pedophile organization in human history. So come on, no
And
one's.
I don't think it means you. It doesn't not mean that you excuse anything that people. I mean, this is not what we're going to build towards a place where. And I'm serious when I say that my goal in this world is to build towards a place where all of the people get to live their lives and feel comfortable living their lives in the way they want to. That
Mhm.
is the most important to me, regardless of what your sex, gender, regardless of what your any of that stuff, all of those people, whatever you feel, however you want to be, I want to live in a world where everyone feels comfortable doing that. But like at the same time, I also I also feel like I somebody just sorry somebody just made me laugh really hard. I don't know if they were referring to me. They said Alex Jones voice. Was I was I starting to do an
No, I don't
Alexander
think so.
voice? But yeah, I just, anyways, yeah, my point. I like to stress it a lot. I think that it's important to accept and admit that we have all not been great and that
Mhm.
we are all trying to grow. And as long as people are meaningful in that and really trying to do that and willing to, like, hey, if someone says something and you call them out for it and you say that's not a good thing to say, as long as they're willing to take that information in and grow and say, okay, I was ignorant to that, what I need to do now is take that in and I need to grow and be a better person. It doesn't mean the people who are saying, "Oh, fuck off. Oh, you're gonna tell me I can't fucking say anything? Fuck you." Like, those people I don't care for. And I don't have much time for them. But like, I think you need to be more accepting. And sometimes I feel like from my community, and I understand it as well. I understand it because my community is also filled with a lot of people who are trans, a lot of people who are, people of color, and a lot of those people who have been treated very, very poorly, and it's very,
And
very
marginalized, and so now they found a
marginalized.
space on the left where they suddenly feel
Exactly.
safer, and that is important. But
Very,
you can have both. You know.
so it's easy for me to say, "Hey, we need to do this," and I also get it. I get it. I was not marginalized in that way. So if
Mhm.
I was marginalized in that way, I maybe would not be so accepting. So I understand their perspective, which is like, no, you know what? Fuck them for saying that, because people like that have been making me feel like shit forever.
Absolutely.
So I get that, but I just think that potentially the far left, the real progressive left, maybe needs to do a little bit of a better job of understanding that people can grow and learn and evolve their views on things. That's what I think.
I totally agree. Okay, hey, I know you said you got to start your show very, very shortly.
Yeah.
So I'll save some more questions for the next time we do this. I did
Yeah.
want to do one thing with you before you leave.
Sure. What is it?
Do you want to do a dual prank call of Project Veritas? They're not going to answer their number, but they have a tip line that you can call in to give tips about voter fraud. I figured we could leave them a message of some sorts.
Well, do you want to call James O'Keefe's actual cell phone number?
Yes.
I gotta say though, I will be honest. I don't know. I don't think you can do this. I don't think you can do this. I'm being serious with you, and I'm really,
Oh,
really,
as in we can't do a live broadcast.
yes, I'm really sorry to the chat who's gonna, but I actually got in trouble on Twitch for this very thing.
Oh,
There's
okay.
something against the TOS where you cannot be doing stuff. But I will say that. I will say this, okay? For where's a good, you and I will do a call to James O'Keefe, okay?
Okay.
And then you can put it up on your YouTube. Is
Done.
that is
Done.
that
Chad, that better be enough. All right, you thirsty scavengers. All right,
yeah,
you're just hovering around the corpse.
all right, awesome. Hey, thanks for having me on. Thank you, you guys. Everyone in the chat seems so cool. Check me out if you want to watch. We've got 3 years worth of prank calls. Ben Shapiro, Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck. I mean, everyone you could imagine. So yeah, go check it out. It seems like it's something you guys would like. So thanks for having me,
Absolutely.
man.
Oh,
Appreciate it.
wait. And before you leave, have me on Go Off Kings now. Let's
Oh,
let's flip the script.
I mean, I can't make them. I mean, I'm not even actually on it. I mean, I can probably get you
Oh,
to
I
come on.
thought you ran it with him. All right, well then just have me on your show. We'll flip
I'll
it that
have you
way.
on mine, but you
All
can come
right.
on. Go. You know what you should come on for, and I think we're maybe not tonight, but you should come on for a Huck watch. We watch Mike Huckabee's show every other Wednesday, and so yeah, you should come on for one of those. It'd be really fun.
Done and done. I would love to. Absolutely
All
love
right,
to.
sounds
All
good.
right.
All right, see you guys later. Bye.
Hey, we want to mutual aid you to get some eyeballs on your work. So if you have a leftist YouTube channel or Twitch stream or something you want us to advertise, just send us a 20 to 30 second ad using the forums at weareserfs.com. We'll do our best to help you out. And please submit once per channel.
To our gods, unwrapped, and Xander Fortress, we shall build temples in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we live to do your bidding. To our lords, Jeffrey Lamb, Trevor R., Stephen, Nine Tails Cosmic Fox, Hans Josephine, Poppy Nelson, Ryan Lubin, Jimothy K. Meeble Beeps Jr., we bow meekly for your pleasure. And to our Knights of the Round Table, Josh Mickelson, Dylan Bike, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, Todd Lajeunesse, Political Puppy, Ali Menthal, Jimmy Big Nuts, Andreas Chitoro, Good Poon Hates Cops, That's Solid Poon Then, Dr. Zayas, Joppy, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Jack Darko, Thomas Barrington, J. Fraser Cartwright, Goofalankius, Melissa Murphy, Nicholas Marks, Alexander Thaler, Ramon Acosta, and Ali Retta Jaffer. We salute you. Love you all. Peace.